in the meeting room already. Welcome your students, and then I think we'll start. Over to you.
So, hello everyone, good evening. First of all, thank you for attending this webinar. So we have Kaushik and Richa with us from the ISB Admissions team. First of all, I must applaud them for reaching out in such a big way to a lot of people to address their queries, to rectify misconceptions. So in this webinar, essentially, it will be taken by Richa primarily.
Yes.
And Kaushik will be there. So you can ask your questions, whatever questions you have regarding the ISB admissions, anything related to that B school.
Okay. Absolutely.
I think first Richa will start off by speaking a few things, and then the floor will be open for any questions you have.
Right. Absolutely. Right. So very quickly, guys, I'll just, I would like to understand a quick show of hand if any of you all have attended our session before, any of our info sessions, online or in-person session before. Show of hand. This will help me decide how much time I have to spend on the slides. So I want to initially talk about what ISB truly believes in before I talk about PGP and its admission process, so that you will be able to understand the entire application process, what ISB looks for, what ISB values in a candidate. So for that, it's important that I talk about the origin story of ISB. But if majority of you all have attended our session, then I'm not going to spend too much of time. We can quickly go ahead with the Q&A. But I don't see any show of hands. So then I will go ahead, share my screen and spend the initial 10-15 minutes talking about the school and the origin story. So yes, guys, very quickly, starting with the origin story of ISB. ISB started out in 2001, and it is now 20 years old. When we started out with one single vision: to be the topmost research-focused business school, offering the best global management program right here in the heart of the country, to create future leadership pipeline. Now, important elements here, very important as we move on and understand what essentially it means, right? So when I talk about research-focused topmost schools, we decided not to reinvent the field to set up processes, but we partnered with Kellogg's and Wharton. Kellogg and Wharton brings in their processes, faculty, student exchange programs, the entire design of the curriculum, in short, the way the program is delivered at ISB. Moving on, we also partnered with LBS and MIT. LBS and MIT are the foremost schools known for its research. And that's where we get our research expertise from. Now, why research is important? Because this helps keep your curriculum contemporary, cutting edge, because it's important not just to remain knowledgeable, but also to stay relevant, right? So that's why the research kicks in. And they have helped build various research centers on either of our campuses. Finally, we also partnered with the Fletcher School. Fletcher School is known for their practices in law and legal management. That's where ISB gets our public policy expertise from. And we also have a research center on public policy. Now, how does this help? We are on the advisory boards for many of the state government or central government projects. And not just these 5 B schools, we also have collaboration with 50 other B schools, wherein we have various faculty and student exchange programs. So this is the origin story. Moving on to the rankings. So guys, ISB is the youngest school to be appearing in the FT list, which also essentially means that in very less time, ISB has been topping the leadership board. We have been consistently ranked number 1 in India as a topmost B school offering the MBA program, number 4 in Asia, number 32 globally. We're also number 1 in the world for the highest salary growth that we have to offer to our students. Not just FT rankings, we're also ranked number 1 by the Bloomberg, by the Economist. We're also ranked number 12 by Poets and Quants, and so on and so forth. In short, ISB in very less span of time has been able to deliver high quality education to its student in the country with global exposure and focus on research. Now, quickly moving on to what is it that we have to offer to our students? What is the PGP, the flagship MBA one-year MBA program? ISB is the pioneer of launching the one-year MBA program in India. India has always been known for the 2-year MIM programs being offered by the topmost Ivy League colleges, but ISB was the first college to be offering the one-year MBA program. So what is it that it offers to our students? The first, which we call it, is a very unique faculty model, which is the portfolio model. Now, portfolio model essentially means we have resident faculty, we have visiting faculty, and we have clinical faculty. Resident faculty is fairly simple. We have 70 plus teaching faculty, ISB faculty living on either of our campuses. Visiting faculty, I talked about 50 plus collaborations. We have over 200 plus visiting faculty who come and deliver the entire course. They are here for the entire term, not just for a masterclass or a special evening class. Right? The third, clinical faculty. Now, what is clinical faculty? Guys, they are not professors, but they are industry experts of the respective industry or the domain. They're subject matter experts. A classic example that I always give here. All of us have heard of NASA. So who was the former chief knowledge officer of NASA? It's Dr. Edward Roger. Dr. Edward Roger has served NASA for over 2 decades, retired last year. He has been teaching at ISB for over a decade now. And what does he teach? He teaches managing business complexity. So imagine learning a subject like managing business complexity from a rocket scientist who deals complexity day in and day out, and no better than a rocket scientist understands the real definition of complexity, right? So that's the unique model of faculty that we have to offer to our students, with single one objective: to offer you the best global management program right here in the heart of the country. Second, integrated learning. Guys, again, very important. 1 year, 8 terms. We have our core curriculum, we have our electives, we have our specializations, case methodology. So this framework remains the same. This is the classroom learning. But what is also important is your outside classroom learning. So it's a 3-pronged approach. First, the peer networking. You will be spending this 1 year with 900 other folks, 900 other students at the campus who represent multi-industry, multi-function, great learning opportunity for you to learn from one another. I also talked about student exchange programs. So again, great learning opportunity for you to learn from global students. We have clubs, we have professional clubs, we have social clubs. You may feel free to join one or many based on your interest. These clubs conduct various initiatives and conferences and workshops, which offer a great platform to learn. The second approach are the events and the case competitions, etc. Again, a few examples here. A bunch of students very recently won a case comp at HUL. Last month, we won a case comp at Amazon. 2-3 months back, a bunch of students represented school in Singapore and won the gold prize. So these case comps give you an opportunity to benchmark your knowledge, your intelligence, not just with the domestic students, but also with international schools and international students. These are all great learning opportunities. Nonetheless, there are flagship events that these clubs organize. We have Advaita, we have ILS, we have Artha. So all of these, like Finance Club offers Artha. ILS offers, the Leadership Club offers ILS. So these are conferences wherein the industry experts, faculty from other global schools are invited, and provides you a great platform, learning platform. The third and the last piece here is the applied learning bit. And this is very important because a lot of times people ask me that ISB doesn't offer internships. And why is it so? Because when you join the PGP program, irrespective of which route you've taken, the direct entry, the EEO, or the YLP, if you've not heard of these jargons, I will spend time on it in my next slides. But there are 3 entry routes for the PGP program, right? Irrespective of what experience you belong to when you're applying, when you join the cohort, you at least have 2 years of experience. And internships are offered by schools wherein they recruit fresh graduates. But in case of ISB, you are already having prior work experience, you have exposure to the corporate canvas. So we offer something called as the ELPs, the Experiential Learning Program, wherein you will be working as a consultant in one of the organizations on a live business project with a faculty mentor. You will be presenting your observations and findings to the management. And if it is accepted and liked by the management, you can also convert this opportunity as a PPO, a pre-placement offer. So this was about what we have to offer to our working professionals or those who want to move into corporate. What do we have for entrepreneurs or those aspiring to become entrepreneurs, aspiring to start something of their own? We have something called Planning an Entrepreneurial Venture. It's a module which is offered by the incubation cells on our campuses. Both our campuses have 1 incubation cell each. This module takes care of the ideation to the go-to-market strategy, the execution part, and everything in between. Building a business canvas, to creating a pitch, how to pitch it to the set of VCs, networking with the VCs, assigning a mentor. The mentor could be an alum, could be a faculty, could be an industry expert, help you basically sustain your startup. If this idea, this startup, this concept is incubated at the cells, after you complete your graduation, after you complete this 1 year of course, you will get an opportunity to be a part of this ecosystem for next 1 year. They take care of your living expenses. They will give you an free office space for next 1 year. They give you a stipend so that your education loan or your any other living expenses is taken care of. If after 1 year, you don't feel confident, you don't feel settled and stabilized, you can come back to the school and sit at the placements. The school will give you an opportunity to sit at the placements and select any offer, any organization of your choice. So these are the various learning opportunities. A quick look at this slide, guys, very important again to understand, because there are a lot of questions on what is the right age, what is the ideal work experience, what is the ideal score that one should gun for. So this slide encapsulates everything. These are not the prescribed ranges by ISB. This is the range in which our current class is on the campus, be it the academic diversity, which is the engineer versus non-engineer mix, be it the gender diversity, or even for that matter, the demographics. An important bit, the scores. So guys, when you ask me that, ma'am, what is that one right score? I truly do not have a right answer, because there is no one right score to be applying to ISB. ISB accepts a range of scores because it looks at other parameters, what else you bring to the table, right? The scores are not the true reflection of your leadership potential. And I talked about the vision story of ISB, that we're looking for future leadership. So the tenets of your leadership will be exhibited in your essay, in your overall application quality, in your overall performance in the interview. So all of these elements also contribute to your selection, right? So the GMAT score 610 to 780, and the GRE range is 306 to 339. So this is the current profile of our PGP students, class of 2023. A quick look at the diversity. So all of those questions around that, ma'am, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I come from an unconventional background, I've never worked in an MNC, I'm a Fauji, I'm a vlogger, I'm an influencer, do I stand a chance? Yes. Short answer, yes. The long-winded answer is that at ISB, we truly believe in diversity. And this, again, a snapshot is of the current class itself. We have sports person, Mr. Ajay Jairam. He's an ace shuttler, world champion, ranked 13. He's in the class. We have Prathmesh Singh, an IPL player, joining the cohort next year. We have few Faujis, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have vloggers, we have yoga artists, we have musicians. Also, we have a producer director, South Indian actress. She does a lot of documentary films. So we have such profiles, very unconventional profiles. And at ISB, we value the contribution, their contribution to the class discussions and their strengths and what they bring to the table, right? Moving on to the third important leg, which is the alum network, right? So in 20 years, ISB has built a formidable network of alumni, which is over 13,500 plus, of which we have over 500 alums who are already at the CXO level. We have over 600 alums who are entrepreneurs, and we have close to 12 unicorns, made in ISB, we call them. Two key takeaways here on this slide, guys, for all of y'all. One, a lot of times people ask me that, ma'am, with this ISB PGP program, do I get an opportunity to work abroad, to move my career, to shift my career, to transition my career into international market? So look at the data point there. 21% of our alums in rest of the world are beyond the boundaries of the country, right? So with the program, they have been able to make the transition. While the direct placement stats are about 2 to 3%, every year 2 to 3% of the cohort gets a direct placement in the international market, but gradually over a period of time, either leveraging this network, because your placements don't end here, or rather your career transition doesn't get over with the placements here at ISB, right? It's possibly just one of the stepping stones, but you have to move on, keep moving on. So feel free to leverage this network. This network has a dedicated mentor portal. It has a dedicated job portal wherein they reach out to various alums and gun for their dream roles in whatever country of their choice, whichever profile that they wish to move into. The second key takeaway here, guys, at ISB, we believe it's a lifelong learning process, right? So your learning doesn't stop here with this 1 year. We give you enough opportunities with the help of the SIGs, the special interest groups. These groups have been created by the alums in association with the school. We have a dedicated team who works with the alums. These SIGs then work closely with faculty members, industry experts. They conduct various workshops on regular basis to ensure that your learning continues. They conduct various master classes. Again, feel free to be part of one or many based on your interest. They do city-wise sessions. They do online sessions to cater to the larger alum database who's not within the country. We also have various country chapters. So these SIGs also conduct workshops in London, UK, etc., etc. So in short, 2 key takeaways: your career opportunities and your lifelong learning opportunities. The fourth and the very important point: 1 school, 2 campuses, 1 experience, guys. The student life experience is just the same, irrespective of which campus has been allocated to you. While you have the decision or the choice to indicate your preference in the application form, the final decision is made by the school, keeping the diversity. I did talk about the diversity briefly. So to ensure that your learning experience is just the same across the campuses, the final call is made by the school management. The placements process is an integrated process, which means that the recruiters do not know whether you're an ISB Hyderabad student or you're an ISB Mohali student. All they know that they're recruiting an ISB student. Each year, all 900 students are either on the Hyderabad campus or on the Mohali campus. The recruiters and the students are present on one campus during the recruitment week. Right. The third, we have integrated learning process as well. We have exchange program between the campuses. Hyderabad students get to spend 1 term on the Mohali campus and vice versa. In short, guys, irrespective of the campus, your experience, the privileges remain absolutely the same. You are an ISB student and you will be an ISB alum. Your final award, the degree does not make a mention of the campus. Your alum status or your alum card, which gives you lifelong access to the campus and the various recreation facilities, does not have a mention of the campus. Lastly, throwing some light on the placement stats. In my initial slides, I did talk about ISB being #1 in the world when it comes to high salary growth that we have to offer to our students. So let's look at what makes us #1. 900 students, over 2,000 plus offer letters, which essentially means each student has over 2 offer letters, which also means that each student can sit through multiple interviews, can hold multiple offers, and then pick the best choice, whichever is the most convenient or whichever is most lucrative. The average salary is 34 lakhs, and the pre-ISB, post-ISB salary growth is about 173%. On my extreme right-hand side, you see a Venn diagram. Again, very important for all of those questions that come my way, that man, I'm in X industry, can I transition into Y industry? I'm currently from an A function, can I move into product management? Can I move into B function? That's your answer. 79% of the students have seen functional shift or an industry shift. Both functional and industry shift, about 65% of our students have seen that. So yes, ISB does provide you the opportunity, but here what is important is, guys, that gaining knowledge, ensuring that you're participating in the right clubs, participating in all the case comps, relevant case comps, gaining the relevant knowledge, that is important, because on that day at the recruitment table, only you will have to show your potential, your true potential, that nobody apart from you understands that role and knows that role better than you, right? So that is something that you have to bear in mind. 3 entry routes, how to apply. So direct entry is for all of those who have more than 2 years of experience. Early entry option is for all of those who've completed their graduation, but have less than 2 years of experience, 0 to 2 years of experience. Young Leader Program is for all of those who are currently studying in final or pre-final year. You guys can also apply to the flagship program through the YLP route. Quickly looking at the application process, fairly simple, but lengthy. All right. It's an online application process for PGP, and because we have an upcoming deadline, so this is only for PGP and EEO, that you should have completed your bachelor's degree. So uploading that document is important. This also has to be done online. You don't have to email anything to us. If any of you all have not logged in yet, Kaushik will be pasting the URL in the chat window. Recommend you to please open that link in a parallel window. While we are here, we are happy to take any questions that you may have with respect to the portal. And we would recommend that with 3 weeks to the deadline, log in, start the process. Well, it can be completed in 2 to 3 hours, but that's a stress you don't want to push yourself to. Please be creative enough, and creativity doesn't come under stress, right? So coming back to what is expected, bachelor's degree, a valid GMAT or a GRE score as on the deadline, valid work experience, Online application, 1 LOR only. A lot of students reach out to me that can I have a CM write for me? Can I have an alum write for me? Whatever, whoever, but only 1. Not more than 1. Don't send any PDF to me. I don't need any additional document. In the application form, you can only enter 1 email ID. So be intelligent about who this person is. This person has to be somebody from your professional network only. For entrepreneurs or family business owners, cannot be a family member or your relative. Your vendor, your client, your customer, somebody who's on the board, who's not your family member, works, but not a family member. For working professional, if you do not want, if you feel that your current reporting manager is not onboarded in your journey, it's okay to reach out to your earlier organization or your earlier or your ex-reporting manager. It's just fine. There are 2 essays. The title of the essay is mentioned in the portal. Fairly simple. Essay 1 is about what you bring to the table, how you can contribute to the class discussions. In short, talk about your strengths, all right? The second is about your career goals. Here again, clarity is important because this will help us understand your why MBA and your why ISB story, right? Both these essays are very critical. They hold a lot of weightage. Please do not ask me the percentage while I do have the answer, but I will not be able to disclose that. But they are very important components of your application process. Next important leg, a lot of students ask me that, ma'am, do we have scholarships in round 2 and round 3? Short answer, yes. Long answer, the only difference between R1 and the subsequent rounds is only R1 has up to 100% tuition fee waiver. Round 2 has 75%, round 3 has 50%. The first 3 buckets are applicable for the Indian students: merit, need, diversity. Merit, automatically all applicants are eligible for merit-based waivers. How does it work? There are various parameters like the essay, the LOR, your scores, your interview scoring. So your overall profile score that has been assigned to you, that is your merit, that is our ranking list. And let's say the first X students are the merit listers for scholarship. Need-based, if your family income is less than 18 lakhs, you could be working in an NGO, you could be running a small size or a mid-size entrepreneur, you could be running your startup. So your overall salary, the family income should be less than 18 lakh. For men, all of this is mentioned in the portal again, guys. So please go through all of these details. For male candidates, family income includes parents, spouse. For female candidates, before marriage parents, after marriage spouse. All of this is given in the application form also. Diversity, this we pick up from your essay and the alum recommendation at the day of your interview, all right? So you can apply to all 3. In the application form, we don't need any additional essay. Merit is automatically calculated. Diversity is picked up by the essays. Need base is when you select. You just have to select the respective scholarships. You can apply to all 3. However, you will be awarded only 1, and whichever is highest. If you score more on merit, that will be awarded to you and subsequently applicable to need and diversity as well. So yes, with that, we come to the end of the slides, and quick reminder, the deadline is on 4th of December. And for those who already started working on their application, happy to take questions. For those who've not logged in yet, the link is in the chat window. We request you to please open up the portal in the parallel window. If you may have any questions, we are right here for next 1 hour. We're happy to take any questions, but feel free to reach out to us. If you want, we can get into another call possibly next week and do a dedicated application workshop for you as well. I'll stop my screen share and over to you, CJ. So shall we just go ahead straight away for the questions, or do you have something on your mind? And if you have any questions that you want to ask me?
No questions from me so far. So we can start with the candidates questions.
Okay, sure. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, show of hand, and we'd like to interact with you, talk to you directly. So we'll follow the order. The first in the queue is Shivang. Go ahead, Shivang. Good evening. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, Richa.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. It was great listening to you. Thank you for this info session. And so I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
I was one of the applicants to the ISB YLP program. I made it through stage 1, but could not make it through stage 2.
Okay.
So I planned on applying for the EEO, but due to certain reasons cannot do that this year. So I will be eligible to apply next year, which will near my 2-year experience mark. So now my question is, would it be better? So there is this conception within the forum that EEO has slightly more competition amongst candidates. They require a higher GMAT score, a higher GRE score. So would it be better? Would it be better for me to apply in the EEO, or probably wait a year or two, get more experience, and apply to the PGPM?
I'm telling you, whoever is writing this statement possibly wants to reduce the competition, but it's nothing like this. In fact, EU and YLP folks, it's such a beautiful, flexible option that ISB gives to them. So understand, Shivang, that EU has no competition because you are not competing for the seat during that year. You are getting an advance, or rather a deferred admission for next year or possibly 2 years from now. So you are absolutely... So EU candidates get first preference because you will possibly be joining the class of 25 or 26 cohort. So you're well ahead. You've taken a good lead in the race. So nothing like that. I think it's just a myth. EU folks, while there are not very many applications also at the EU stage, it's not competitive. In fact, we see maximum conversion happening in this bucket also. So it's I don't know what else to answer to that. Can you unmute, Shivang? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was not able to do that on my end.
Sure.
Thank you for clarifying that, Richa. This is actually a quite a big demystification that just happened, because I cannot tell you the number of people that have come across who tell me ki, EEO and YLP require much higher GMAT GRE scores, so you reduce your chances drastically. It is the general conception, I mean, amongst my peers. So that is this is much needed clarification. So thank you for that.
No, thank you, Shivang, for joining us, and we're absolutely grateful that your question got answered. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move on to our next question, and this one's from Hitesh. Hi, Hitesh. Unmuting you. Please go ahead with your question.
Hey, hi, Richa. A very good evening. Thanks for this informative session. I have 2 questions.
Yes.
So I'm from a consulting background, and I understand this is a very overrepresented background in the application pool. So I just want to understand what qualities in a consultant you guys look like. What should one should highlight? Yeah. If you can just throw some light on that. Yeah.
Sure, Hitesh. I think, again, a very good question. So yes, you're right, Hitesh. Even if they are not well represented in the application pool, at least majority of them talk about moving into consulting after ISB stint. So what we are looking for is impact. One answer, one word answer, impact. If you are currently in consulting, please talk about your contributions to that project, to your organization, and how you want to, and also talk about your challenges. Right? Which is why the ISB, the MB story will pitch in.
Got it.
So talk about your contributions, the impact that Hitesh has created in his organization. Please also talk about, don't shy away from talking about that. These are my misses. While you talk about your hits, please talk about, these are my misses. These are my challenges. This is where I want to leverage ISB as a platform to fill in the gaps. That is something, that's a true storyline that we're looking for in any candidate. And this could be true to you. This could be true to any of our friends who've joined us this evening. This is exactly what we're looking for in an essay, or overall in the entire application content, from the education to the employment, to the essay, to the letter of recommendation. Everything ultimately has to stitch together and present a story about Hitesh.
Got it. That's a very, very detailed answer. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Another question I had is, one of the essay talks about MBA goals. Though I'm very clear about my goals, like what I want to do post MBA, but I'm also looking MBA as a drawing board for me. Like I need to go back to class, meet new people, and understand what all different career opportunities are available. So I'm not closing other options before MBA. Yeah. So
perfect. In fact, that's good. That's a good culture, because you come across as somebody who's flexible, who's ready to absorb, who's humble and ready to learn from other peers, and not high-headed about been there, done it all, and I know what I'm doing. So it's a good approach. It'll help.
Okay.
Yes.
So highlighting this fact in an essay, will it make
Yes.
a negative impact? Because will it show like someone is not very clear what he or
Got it.
she wants to
Got it.
do?
Got
Yeah.
it. Sure. No, while it will not have any negative marking, but understand the topic of the essay is very specific, that what are your
Correct.
career goals. So now I leave it to you how much space, how much real estate you want to spend on this particular answer or this
Aspect.
particular aspect. But there's no harm in mentioning that, having said this, I'm also open to learn from others and try out new avenues.
Correct.
So possibly that's how you can spin in that story. But why spend so much of time on this when the essay topic is very specific about your career
Goals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. And one last question. LOR from clients will be accepted, not the immediate managers, but the clients for whom I have worked.
So we accept both.
Okay,
Whoever you are comfortable with, whoever
perfect.
you are confident of. So
Okay.
both are okay.
Okay, fine.
Whoever
Cool.
has seen you closely, whoever has seen your struggles, your success stories, the kind of work that you're doing. So whatever, be intelligent, choose this person wisely. You can choose reporting manager, you can choose clients, vendors, customers. So both are applicable, even for working professionals.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. This helped. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Adesh.
Yeah.
Right. So with that, we move on to our next question. And hi, Sahil, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Richa and
Hi.
CJ and Kaushik as well. Thank you for putting up this session as well.
Thank
And
you.
really helpful listening to you. But so the question that I actually had was regarding the direct entry route.
Yes.
And I was thinking that I will be completing my 2 years of experience within a couple of months.
Mhm.
And the thing is that I have still been sort of chasing the GMAT score. So so for that reason, I have, I think the EEO route will not be something that will be applicable to me. Now, while I was thinking about the direct entry route, my intuition told me that I'll be competing with people who have work experience in a range of 2 to 10 years, probably, or even more. So, how in that case, how do I make my application stand out? And my brief background about my job is I work in financial risk consulting with one of the big fours.
Mhm.
So, and I want to transition into a turnaround strategy kind of a role.
Mhm.
So, in that case, how can I make those things reflect and my application stand out in that case?
Sure. So Sahil, first you have to keep this in mind that we don't compare work experiences. Okay. So given assuming that you've got 2 years of experience, your work experience or the depth of your profile will not be compared with someone who's got, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years of experience. We have various buckets. So we have 2 to 4, 4 to 6. So every 2 years, it becomes a bucket. So please shun away that first inhibition, that how does your profile compare with somebody who's a senior person. It is not comparable, and it's absolutely unfair on our bit to be doing that. So we understand that, we respect that space about you, and we take care of that in the selection process. Okay, so that's the first thing that you have to keep in mind. Now, if I have to look at that bucket who is in the, let's say, 2 years, less than 2 years range, we're looking at very specific things, Sahil, that, whether or not you have the clarity of what you're getting into. Right? It's very important to understand what are you currently doing, what you want to do next, your immediate plan, your next 1 year, 2 years plan. I'm not interested to understand whether, after 10 years down the line, I want to be a CEO here, there. I want very specific answers on in next 1 or 2 years, I want to do this. Right? So for folks with the early years of managerial experience or just started their career, this is what we're looking for: clarity in thought process. Because you've not worked much, you have very little work experience, you have less exposure, so your openness to experiment a lot of things, your curiosity to try out different things, what you want to do based on your limited knowledge. We understand that the gravitas could be missing, but based on the limited knowledge, what is it that you've decided for yourself in next 1 year? Even if it is ISB, what all are you going to be doing at ISB? How are you going to leverage that platform? Again, this remains same for everyone, but becomes very important for folks like you who have just about 2 years or possibly less than 2 years of experience, Sahil. So just present your essay and your career goals, etc. very, very thoughtfully with utmost clarity. That will help us. That will help your case rather.
Absolutely, Richa. I think that answers my questions. And thank you again for putting up that detail. And thank you all for putting up the session as well. Again, thank you, CJ. Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Kaushik.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move on to our next question. And this one's from Ashok. Hi, Ashok. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you for this information, Kaushik and Richa. So I've got 2 to 3 questions regarding this ISB process. So I have yet not taken a GMAT, so I'm thinking of applying for round 2 or round 3.
Okay.
So I've been working in a PSU.
Okay.
For India Limited for the past 8 years. I've got 8 plus works of in field operations. I'm currently in field operations working as a manager. So I've been constantly in a legal profile, but I want to switch to different domain altogether, like finance or consulting or whatever, because I've got less knowledge about it, but my profile or work experience doesn't reflect that. So how much possible is it to switch that? One, and second, me and we are working professionals, and as you said about need-based scholarship, so the pre-ISB that applicant thing is more than 18 lakhs. I guess the CTC comes more than 18 lakhs, but I've got more liabilities like home loan and everything. So will I qualify for that, or what kind of scholarship will be applicable for that? Because I'll be resigning. Yeah.
Okay. I think I've understood all the questions that you want to ask me. If you feel that I missed out on anything, feel free to pitch in. So let me first talk about the scholarship, because that is easy and short. So unfortunately, the need-based will not be applicable, Ashok, because the hard stop is 18 lakhs. You know, we have a lot of folks who've reached out to us in the past with a very similar query, but we were unable to process those requests. So I know for sure that the need-based in that case will not be applicable. However, you still have 2 more opportunities, which is the merit-based and the diversity. Talking of diversity, let me also tell you that you represent PSU and you've been working for 8 years. It's a very good diversity pitch. Now it will be up to you to be working very carefully on your essay and bring in those diversity aspects in your application form. Talk about all the various challenges, talk about your learnings, because we understand the kind of challenges and your learnings that you have will be very different from somebody who's coming from an MNC or a typical corporate background, right? So you should consider yourself as a diversity candidate. You already have 1 spike in your application, which is your diversity profile. So within the scholarship, you still have 2 more places to ace your scholarship chances. Okay. Now, coming to your earlier questions about your career transition into finance, strategy, or consulting, Ashok, all 3 of them are possible, but specifically talking about finance, if I have to start with, you have to bear in mind that you have 8 years of PSU background. I'm sorry, I think I missed which function you're representing, but I also heard that currently in your resume it is missing and you want to gain knowledge. If you want to gain knowledge, you can choose finance as a specialization.
As a deputy manager. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You can pick up finance as, while finance will be part of your core module, in specializations also, in your electives also, you can pick up finance so that you can hone your knowledge and your expertise, your skills in this particular function, right? But when it comes to shifting your function, you have to be aware of this fact that there are possibly CAs, CFAs, people who are from hardcore finance function who will also be in your class, who will, let's say, will have 5 years, 6 years, 8 years of experience. So you will be competing with those folks. While you will not be considered as a fresher, but you need to understand that the expectation level from you will be very high. right? So it will be entirely on you if you're really, really passionate about moving into finance function, hardcore finance function, rather than just knowing. So there is a difference between, so I attended this this class from Professor Ramana Sonti here in finance, and he said that, guys, I'm here not to make you CAs, but to make you understand how to read this balance sheet so that tomorrow when you become a CEO, you know that these numbers, how these numbers make sense, right? So that is important as a business owner, as a leader, or tomorrow when you move on to leading a business or a vertical, that you should be able, those finance numbers should be able to talk to you. That is one expectation. Second, if you want to hardcore move into that function, you will have to tell yourself that the expectation is right here. Because you're not treated as a fresher, you already have 8 years of experience. Vis-a-vis, you're also competing with the finance guy, with the CA who's got 8 years of experience. So how the knowledge of the two of you all have to be at par, right? If you all are gunning for the same position. So that is something, that is a conversation that you have to have with yourself. But when it comes to management things like consulting and strategy, this absolutely, because you have a technical expertise already. With this 1 year at ISB, you will build on your business skills, and consulting and strategy, you can move into finance consulting, which is just fine, right? So that is something that you can pick up. Those things are doable, right? The strategy, management, leadership things are doable. But yes, expectation of doing hardcore finance got to be a little more realistic, because there will be good finance students otherwise also in the class, right, Ashok? Hope you're able to connect the dots and understand what I'm trying to explain you about the class dynamics.
I got your point. Thank you for this. I just want to ask it once again that okay, hardcore finance is not won't be good for me.
Yes.
But I'm working manager in Coding Limited for the past year, working in field. So, what are the options that I can look forward to? Like you said, consulting, and what else? What will be good for? Because they've got less idea about which role will suit us to, you know.
I'm not sure if I heard that completely, but I think, Ashok, you want to understand what other options open up for you at ISB, right? Broadly, that is what you want to understand.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Ashok, what is it? I think not just what ISB can offer you. I think you need to first ask, what are you good at? What is it that you really want to? With ISB, every possible option is available. Students, 13,000 plus students have graduated. They have decided different trajectories. It will be again very difficult for me to give you, let's say, the top 5 options without knowing who Ashok is really, what are the strengths of Ashok. I think this is a reflection point for you. This conversation first you need to have with yourself. Chalk out those top 3-4 things that excite you to begin with. Right? You could possibly change the course once you join the campus, once you meet faculty members, other students, and then other avenues open up for you, and you realize you have your aha moment that, oh, I didn't know about this. This is also something that I can do. It's just absolutely fine to change the course, but to start with, it's very important to understand your strengths. So I will request you to first understand what you are good at. What are your interests? What are your likings? What have you been enjoying doing in last 8 years? What is that one thing that you do not like doing? Possibly also talk to your seniors and understand that if, suppose, even after MBA, you had to come back to the same function industry, but of course, at a senior leadership position, do you like that? Does that excite you? And then do the reverse engineering that if not this, then what other options are there for you? So I think this initial homework you'll have to do with Ashok, with yourself, Ashok, because I just don't know what to tell you, because there are so many options, there's so many permutation, combination of career success stories that ISB has produced, has given to its students. But I don't know that what is applicable in your case, right?
Okay, thank you. Just a little bit doubt. What will be the round 3 deadline? If you have any
Round
idea.
3 deadline will be tentatively mid-Jan, Ashok. The dates are not announced yet because I don't have the approval from the Dean's office. We will be announcing that. Allow us some more time, maybe a week's time, and we'll publish those dates.
Okay, sorry, that's mid-Jan. Sorry, I
Mid-Jan,
didn't-
mid-Jan, yes, yes. Second week
Okay,
or the
thank
third week, we're still awaiting approvals on that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you and all the best. Thank you so much. Okay, and we move on to our next question. Hi, Shubham. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, Richa.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Actually, I also have 8 years of experience, and I'm looking after the corporate accounts,
Okay,
mainly in the advances.
okay.
So, what I need to have a clarity on, after my graduation, I have a gap of 3 years. So,
Okay.
will that affect in a very bad way the chances of admit?
Sure. Again, a very important question. Often people ask me about gaps in education or gaps in employment. So let me tell you that at ISB, we value something called the strength-based evaluation. We do not question any candidate on any sort of gaps that have been there, either in the employment or the education phase, because we understand that that's a more private space, a personal space of yours. You had to possibly take that decision for whatever situation was then, right? So there will be no questions around this gap. There will be no negative marking about this. So that is something that all of you all have to be cognizant of, that gaps is not considered as a weak point. What is important for us is what after that? How did you take charge of your life? How are you now seriously working towards making your career or transitioning into a better role? So that is more important to us, and nobody is interested to know what happened and why that. And sometimes people also ask me that, can I explain this in my application form? If you already started working on your application form, you'll see that there is no placeholder to give any explanation. We don't even need an explanation with respect to gaps. It's entirely up to you. If you want to talk about due to a medical emergency or a personal emergency, we'll leave it to you, but we don't need any explanation around that gap.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure, Shubham. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. Are you getting enough?
Yes, I can now hear you loud and clear.
So, because of the gap, I am right now at 34. So,
Okay.
my peers who will be having 8 years of experience, they will be younger to me by 3-4 years maybe. So, do this gap give them an edge over me?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Absolutely no. Look at it this way, that so many of us have taken a break, right? Women take maternity break and come back, or there are any other breaks or gaps. As long as we are very clear what we want to do next, that is more important. It's all here, Shubham. Just keep it aside.
Not affect in the placement round also?
It will not. It will not. It will not be impacted. Yeah. We are not looking at the age. We're not looking at the number of years of experience. We're only looking at who Shubham is, what he brings to the table, his strengths, the kind of work that he's done, the kind of impact that he's created to the society, what he wants to do next, how ISB can help him. These are the various approaches. These are the various things that we're looking for.
Thank you, Richa, and thank you, CJ and Kaushik, for putting up the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All the best. Yes, and we go to our next question, and this one's from Shreya. Hi, Shreya, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, Richa. Hi, CJ. Thank you for setting up the session. I have 10 years of experience in digital marketing, and my average package is close to ISB's average package. So I want to understand if you have insights in terms of how much do people with 10 years of experience end up making, because I'm sure that there would be difference. You will have these insights experience-wise as well.
Yes. So Shreya, yes, for at ISB, for folks having more than 8 years of experience, we have a separate club for them, which is called the Senior Executive Club. And they're about 12 to 15% of the cohort belongs to the SEC genre. And we have very focused recruitment process for them. The entire training and induction is very, very different because they are senior folks. They are mostly those profiles who will be aspiring for leadership roles. So yes, the kind of profiles that come for SEC students are mostly senior leadership profiles. And second, yes, the average salary is a lot more than the class average that we've talked about. What I can tell you is that I will not be able to talk about the highest and the lowest because that's something that we don't sort of disclose. It's not even there in our placement report. 5 years report is there on the website, but we don't disclose those numbers. But the average salary of SEC students, I think for last year was about 38, 39 lakhs. So this is the range, which is 8 to 22, this SEC's range.
Sure, thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Shreya. Yes, Shubham, please go ahead with your question. Are you able to unmute? Yeah.
Just now I completed my questions. I think.
Oh, okay. It's the earlier one. Okay. And in that case, I also see Hitesh. Hitesh, do you have an additional question for us?
Yeah.
Sure.
I have one more. It's again based on the goals. So I was just giving it a thought. Can my goals be completely in a different direction than what I've experienced so far? Like, will it be justified?
Everything is justified as long as you are able to talk about it.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
let's say I'm in
There's no
consulting
right.
today.
Yeah. There's no right answer, wrong answer. Because be rest assured that most of your conversation at the interview will be around the essays, right? So what you write in the essay is very critical. So be prepared. Have every, why am I writing this? What has triggered this thought? So ask yourself those questions and be ready that, on the interview, the alum would want to know that, hey, you know what, Hitesh, you've been doing ABCD and now you want to do this. What led to this transformation? So you should have your answer ready. Or what triggered this thought? And how do you think you will create an impact? How do you think you will contribute to this? What are the possible challenges that you can face in this? So ask yourself those things. You will have to justify it. We accept every story, every dream is absolutely the right dream, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All the best, Hitesh.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we've answered all the questions in the meeting room. I'll quickly look at the chat and there are no questions here as well. Okay.
I wanted all of them with just one quick question. Okay, so there's somebody has asked this question, and I think Richa, you would like to take this. I don't know the name. Which program at ISB would you suggest for somebody who has 14 plus years of experience? So
okay, yes. Again, a lot of students ask me this question. So at ISB, we offer the flagship MBA, which is the 1-year PGP. We also offer executive MBA programs. And within executive MBA programs, we have weekend programs, we have modular programs. So with 14 years, you're absolutely eligible to all 3 programs. Now, if I may ask you, of course, I did see it says anonymous. So you have to ask yourself that, can you pull the plug for 1 year? Can you, switch off from your corporate life? Can you either you bring your family on the campus or is there somebody who can take care of your family in your absence? Can you afford to take that call? Can you afford to take that decision for 1 year? Then you should go for the flagship 1 year. If you have certain commitments and you're unable to switch off the engine for 1 year, then go for the executive MBA portfolio. Based on your commitments, you can choose the weekend program or you can choose a modular program, which is you got to travel to the ISB campus for 1 entire week. It's a residency week, we call it, every 5 weeks, right? So if you feel that in your organization, your leadership will not support this, and you don't want to discuss this at work, you cannot take leaves that often, then you can go for the weekend program. So based on your convenience, based on your requirement, these 3 programs have been decided. Of course, the first one is a flagship program. The executive MBA portfolio is about 10 years now that we've launched them. So I hope that answers, but you're eligible for all 3. And another point, in executive MBA, we do not offer placements. So that's also something that you can keep in mind. If you have additional questions, feel free to show of hand. We'd like to talk to you. But I will move on to Raghav. Yes, Raghav, please go ahead. I see your show of hand.
Hello.
Yes, Raghav, please tell me.
Hi, Richa, CJ,
Hi.
Kaushik. Please know that all three of you look lovely right now. So that's there. One very personal question which I aim to ask is so let's say you have two profiles which you may be interviewing. One of them happens to be a financial risk consultant, and the another one happens to be a strategy consultant. So will you have a different lens while you would be interviewing the strategy consultant over the financial risk consultant, provided both of them have the more or less average number of work experience is the same, the number of promotions is the same, the impact which they have created in the organization is the same. Just because the another person is not a management consultant or a strategy consultant before applying to ISB, so will that create, any substantial difference during the applications?
No, Raghav, there's absolutely no bias to management consultants or strategy consultants. It's all about how your overall quality score of application and interview, the total summation amounts to. So it totally depends on how you've crafted your story, the kind of clarity that you've brought in. Both the essays cannot be the same, right? The way the both of you have handled the questions on that day will be very, very different, even if you had a similar journey, right? There is, in short, no preference given to strategy or management consultants as such. Also, how many people absolutely actually apply as well, right? Not everybody is coming from this kind of profile. We have very few students who are already in that position. So even in that case, even if those numbers are less, there's as such no preference given to them. They have to go through the regular evaluation process.
Understood. One more question, ma'am. So let's say we have 10 variables based on which we are assessing a candidate, whether he or she is an appropriate fit for the PGP program or not. So let's say for eight of the criterias out of the total 10 criterias, he or she has passed, but in 2 of the criterias, let's say maybe it was the destiny or something at that very precise moment back in his or her life, he did not only know that he would want to pursue an MBA. And so very frankly, I had a graduation score, which I think, would be a problem if God is kind, if I get a chance to apply to ISB. So consultants tell me that I need a goddamn 750 or 760 GMAT to compensate for a 60% graduation mark of apart from the fact that the graduation has been done from the top.
I'm getting where you're coming from, yeah.
Right. And a 760 or a 750 GMAT is it's 99 percentile. So it's something which is very, I think it is not an easy task to be accomplished.
Sure, Raghav. I think I'll make it easy for you. So let me first talk about the 6 parameters. Let me give you a very specific answer. So there are 6 parameters that ISB looks for, or ISB evaluates a candidate. Okay. The first 3 are the most important. Please do not ask me the percentage. I'm telling you, I have the answer, but I won't be able to disclose those percentages. Right. So the first one is the essays, both the essays that I've talked about. The second is the LOR. The third is your score. Now, these 3 things is something that you can control, and please control the controllables. Don't worry about something that you cannot go back in the past and change. Your academics is the next point. Yes, academic history. The 5th one, here again, we're not looking at fancy scores. We're looking at basic hygiene check, right? What is it that we're looking for? It's a PG program, so we want to ensure that you have successfully completed your graduation. The program is delivered in English. We have a lot of international faculty who are coming and teaching the courses. So we want to ensure that English was your primary language. So that's why it's very important for us to ensure that this is taken care. So that's why the academic history is important. The fifth is your career progression. When I say career progression, please pay attention to my wordings. I'm saying career progression. I'm not saying number of years of experience, your CTC, which organization you come from, whether it is a marquee, the Big Four, or the FANG, or the Fortune 500. You could be an entrepreneur. You could be coming from an SME, which is just fine. So the value of the organization is not important, right? Your designation is not important. The number of promotions that you've seen is not important. What we look for in this fifth point is how you have evolved as a working professional. When you started out, the kind of roles and responsibilities that you were handling, and vis-a-vis how you've progressed, because that's an indication for us that your leadership has shown confidence in you, right? You could be a manager then, you're still a manager, but the depth of your profile has increased. That is what we're looking for in career progression. All of these 5 points will make you eligible to be shortlisted for interview or rejected for interview. If you're shortlisted for interview, the 6th point which comes in is your interview performance, your interview scores. So these are the 6 points that we're looking for. And yes, you're absolutely right. Not everybody will be able to ace all 6 elements, right? And that's why this is an opportunity that if, let's say, your academics is not pulling up your profile, you have other areas to work upon, right? You have your essays, you have your score. Score is also not the only element. You don't have to stress yourself ki 760 chahiye mujhe GMAT mein. No, right? You have to, you could probably put forward a very, and again, when I say essay, good essay, I'm not looking at ornamental English. I'm not looking at quotes from Google. I'm not looking at fancy vocabulary. It could be a simple essay written colloquial English, but an honest story about you, who can present an honest picture of who Raghav is, what he brings to the table, what he ultimately wants from ISB. That's the basic expectation from those essays. So you could possibly have great things to talk about, what all contribution you've done in your stints in 8 years, what next. Those are again areas. So GMAT again is not the only area wherein you can pull up your score, given that if you think that 60% it's an average score. So if it is sort of lowering down your scores, there are the other 4 elements. So please don't stress. And again, I'm telling you, control the controllables. What is it that you can control now? Your preparation for your exam. Please start working on the application form. And that is why we are here. We are taking this initiative and we want to speak to you early. We have 3 weeks to the deadline. Go back home, open the laptop, look at the application form. It'll not make sense at all, maybe on the day 1, and you'll be like, oh my God, what is this? I can't do it. Shut the system, go back again, open it tomorrow. Take a Word document, write the topic of the essay, scribble, just write whatever initial thoughts that come to your mind, but start. Don't leave this component for the last 2 days or the last 2-3 hours. You will be able to submit it, but you won't be able to do justice with this. Okay, so please spend time on your essays. Please spend time with yourself first. At night, 1 hour, peacefully talk to yourself. Karna kya hai mujhe life mein? What do I want to do? What do I enjoy doing? What I don't want to do? What I don't like doing? So these conversations will help. We have 3 weeks time. We have good enough time. We started early. The very fact that you're here, you're attending this session means somewhere in your mind, the first step is taken. That realization of doing an MBA, that realization has kicked in. Now let's build on it structurally, right, Raghav? So don't worry about 60 versus 760. No, that's not the expectation. We cannot be so harsh on the candidates. We don't expect you to get 760 in GMAT. But we want you to work sincerely on other elements in the application form. Even if you get 760, Raghav, you would have heard you would have seen a lot of content floating on GMAT Club here, there, everywhere, that we've rejected candidates with 740, 760 score as well. Because possibly he did not craft his essays properly. He just took it for granted. Right? So you have other areas. So spread your wings, fly, but yeah, spend time. Go back home. 1 hour, maybe half an hour, spend on that application. Maybe possibly go enter your name, your contact details and shut down the system. but start bit by bit, start working at it.
Understood, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, ma'am.
Raghav. All the best, Raghav. Thank you so much. And we have 2 more questions on the floor. So next one is Ria. Hi, Ria. Good evening. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, we can now hear you. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for this session. First of all, I could only attend 15 minutes and I had an office call and then I rejoined. To your point about no placements guarantee for executive MBA. Could you just elaborate on that? Or maybe I joined in between and I missed the...
No, so actually, there was a question about 14 years of experience and what is the eligibility to other programs of ISB. So
Okay.
we have flagship MBA, we have executive MBA, flagship MBA. So the differences are for a candidate who can pull the plug for 1 year and be on the campus, live the life, experience the life of a student, go for the full-time residential program. If you have personal or professional commitments, cannot switch off the engine for a year, then we have the executive MBA. The second difference is the flagship MBA is for those who are looking for a career transition because it has placements. It will give you that, it will help you pivot to the next orbit. The executive MBA programs, they do not offer placements, and the students who apply to this program are not necessarily looking for career transition. They're looking at, they're possibly already in the leadership roles, but they were technical experts and they now want to build on their business acumen, right?
Okay.
So they want to learn how to manage the business. So those programs are designed for that audience, curated audience. So that is the conversation that we were having. Yeah.
The flagship MBA is for 1 year, 2 years?
Yes, 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Yes.
And for somebody like me, having around 12 years of work experience in digital marketing,
yes,
is there an option to pick subjects, or that is not the option? Because if I'm going for a flagship MBA and I would want to have a full-fledged experience along with the placements options, would that be a preferable option for me?
So if for 1 year you can switch off your engine, flagship is something that I could definitely recommend to you. It will definitely give you that thrust to the next level that you're aspiring to move into. Yes, the initial 3 terms, which are your core modules, will remain the same. All 900 students will have to go through these initial 3 terms, which you call it as a core terms. It's only from the 4th to the 8th term, the electives kick in. That's where you will get the flexibility to choose the subjects of your choice.
Got it. So first 3 is common for everybody, and then you can have your pick.
Yes. And you have to specialize in 1, max 2. So you can specialize in, let's say, since you're already into digital marketing, but let's say if you want to specialize in marketing and strategy, you can do that. But you're already a marketing expert, so utilize this platform to learn something which you not dealing with already. But leaving it to you. To each his own.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And just one last question. Before the round 1 application kicks in, how much time should we ideally give ourselves to start the application procedure? Like, would it be 3 months, 2 months? I know sooner the better.
Application process. So filling, when you say application process, is it just the filling of the application and submitting?
No, the entire process, the
entire
essay
process.
writing,
The essay writing, etc.
LOR, exactly.
So like I said, I every year I see students who will log in on Sunday and in next 3 hours fill the application, submit and go. I have seen those fast logins as well. I have seen folks who, when we announce that the portal is open, the application process is now live, they will log in and they will take 3 months to build it. But again, I feel not more than a week. Because there is nothing, what happens essentially is that you keep reading your essay. Every day you possibly will go and change a full stop or a comma or a preposition or an article. But overall, the essay would have taken the structure and nothing drastically will change in this financial year, at least, whatever your current state of mind is. right?
Yeah, the narrative remains the same.
Absolutely, right? And that is
Yeah.
what is more important to us. So
Mm.
1 week is more than enough, because if you give yourself more time, you will never be convinced about it. And you will go cold feet and you'll be like, I'm not ready with my essay. I have to get it reviewed by 4 other alums. That's also another mistake that students do. Don't take multiple opinions on your application form. 2 is enough. Could be an alum, could be a student, could be a family member, could be a sibling, anyone who knows you the best. Because that person can give you the perspective that, hey, you know what, Riya, talk about this incident or this episode. Here, I think you did a fantastic job. This was fabulous. This was like out of the world. Somebody who can give you that perspective. Could be your mentor, could be somebody from your organization.
Right. Got it.
Right? 1,
Yeah.
max 2, not very many. It will again leave you confused.
And there is no such thing as if you apply in round 3 and round 2, you are missing the train. You have not gotten into the your profile has not been visible to the admin committee. Majority has been taken. I know the point that you highlighted about the fees, 100%, 75%. So that point, yeah, that point exists. But other than that, there is no difference, right? If you apply in round 2, round 3,
no difference. But very frankly, you have to tell yourself again, it's again one fact that R3 becomes competitive, slightly more competitive, only because limited seats are left, not because the process changes. The application process is the same, the interview process is the same, but by round 2, we filled about 80-85% of our cohort.
Okay.
So that's what makes R3 slightly more difficult or slightly more competitive, but it's only because of that. But yeah, I think that's a decision that you've made for yourself. You've told yourself that I want to apply to R3, so own it, own that decision. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's a learning for you. You next year apply in R1. So I think take ownership of every decision that you take. If you're not ready for R2, but I would say if anybody of you writing your exam on or before 4th of December, and that's why we are here, don't procrastinate this process because the application form was not ready, guys. Because you've completed one important leg, which is your score. Now the second bit is doable, is in your hand. Is something that you could have phased it out in probably in 3-4 days, and you could have done it peacefully, calmly, more in a more creative fashion. So I think if you're writing your exam on or before 4th of December, gun for R2. But if your exam slot is only after 4th of December, then it is R3.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you, Riya. Pleasure. Thank you so much. All right, and I have a couple of hands. I'm not sure if we've, but I will definitely allow Hitesh, Shubham, Raghav. Guys, please go ahead. I'm not sure if I've already answered those questions, or do we have additional questions? Go ahead, Hitesh.
Yeah, I'm extremely sorry I've not organized my questions.
No problem.
Yeah, just to give you a perspective, I'm a chartered accountant.
Sure.
So just because of my undergrad score is very poor because we were focusing on our CAs. So I just want to understand, like, being a first attempt chartered accountant nullifies my bad undergrad score. I'm so sorry. It might.
No. It's a very innocent question, I must tell you.
Yeah.
And I love the sincerity in this question, Hitesh.
Because my undergrad scores are very poor. I know for a fact. Like, I can't even show it to my family right now. So those are my undergrad scores because the people like completely focused in our CAs. So that was a problem at that time.
Right. No, so Hitesh, don't you worry. I have 50+ CAs here on the campus, and they have a very similar journeys.
Okay.
So
that's comforting. Yeah.
So I that's why I started laughing, not because because there's just so much of sincerity and honesty and innocence in this question that it's understood. A lot of CAs, they start preparing for their level 1
Correct.
first
Right
year
after 12th. Yeah.
Right. So it's understood. While you're preparing for this, BCom to ho jayega. So
right. That's the attitude people carry, like including me.
So no, don't worry.
Yeah. And I was like transitioning from my laptop to phone, so I disconnected the call. You were talking about 5 attributes. Can you just repeat it? I missed those 5 points.
Sure. So the first 3 are important. The essay, the LOR, 1 letter of recommendation, your scores. These 3 are most important because this is your current you, right?
Correct.
What you are preparing for, and it's within your control. The next 2, which is your academic history. The fifth one is your career progression. And career progression is very important, not because of the designation, salary, It's about how you've evolved as a working professional, right?
Got it.
Right. So these 5 points will make you eligible for interview or rejection for interview. If you're shortlisted for interview, your 6th scores get added, which is your interview score. So these are 5 parameters.
Got it. Perfect. So that academic thing, my CA degree can take care of that.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. All the best, Hitesh.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Shubham, please go ahead.
Richa, this is the kind of advice I'm seeking from you. Like the next financial year, my promotions are due, and right now I'm in the lower management in my corporate. So I'll get the promotion, and then I'll become mid management in my corporate. So at that position, will I be able to more leverage the offers which ISB will be offering? Because by the virtue of my experience, I'll be going into the senior executive cohort.
Yeah. So Shubham, again, the senior or the middle management cadre is necessarily not important or a mandate for your recruitment or your shortlist. You possibly will elevate to the next level after, let's say, the program and during the recruitment, because you have the potential. You just said that you will be given this promotion next year, etc. So that means you exhibited what it takes in that role, right? Promotions are typically given at that stage when the leadership sees that you're already performing above and beyond your current role, when you're ready for that next role. So you're ready for that role already, and they will be able to see those leadership qualities in you. So you don't have to wait. If your YMBA is ready in your mind, right? The requirement or the need of doing a management program is now, then I think you're ready to pick up any MBA at any school and now. So don't wait for the promotion to happen, because those qualities you've acquired. Promotions are coming to you because of your qualities. So you're ready. You're ready to move on. You're ready for the next position. But your requirement and need for MBA is now. So don't procrastinate the process. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. And yes, Raghav, do you have a question for us? Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So just wanted to understand that whether ISB is giving a lot of weightage to 10th standard marks as well, along with the 12th standard marks.
No, not at all. Even the 12th is not important. I mean, the basic hygiene is needed, but understand that if I have to tell you, it's one of the, let's say, those components which is not very, very important or critical for this entire evaluation process, because whoever Raghav was in 10th or 12th is possibly now a better version of himself, right? So if you are able to present that, I think you're sorted. So don't worry about your 10th, 12th, even for graduation for that matter. There's nothing you can do also, Raghav. We can only talk about it for next 1 hour, let's say, but there's nothing we can do about it. We cannot go back and change it. So let's focus on what we can change, what is under our control, what is not beyond the scope of work. So focus on that, Raghav. Don't worry about 10th, 12th. It's done and dusted. The best you can do is log in, park those details, save it, and leave it. That's the best that you can do. That's the best treatment they deserve.
Understood.
Yeah, sure. Right. Yes, Ashok, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you all for your patience. Okay, I just have a small doubt. Actually, every school or college, they have certain flagship courses like when we are into an engineering college, this branch is the best for this college, this branch is best for this college. So does ISB have that kind of notion that when you stick to this kind of role, like product management, strategy, or consulting, this will take you more far because you are from ISB, it has got specialization in that. And one more thing, because I have got I've misunderstood doubts or whatever.
Yeah.
that consulting is a very rigorous job. Strategy will suit you better. Supply chain management will suit you better. So I want to be clear of this notion actually.
Sure. So Ashok, yes, it's only a notion and it's not a fact. Yes, you will also see some data points that 33% of placements happen in consulting, 27% happens in product management. So ISB is known for consulting and product management, or you have better prospects. I think it's just one way of interpreting the data. Look at it this way. When I was talking about what makes the career or rather the placements different at ISB is that students sit through multiple interviews. Students have multiple offer letters, right? The placement team is working with you to understand your requirement and to understand what is your dream role, what is your dream job. So ultimately, if maximum students end up choosing the consulting offer, that's why the number spikes up. If finance is only about 15% represented in that pie chart, it's possibly because only 15% of the cohort wanted those roles, right? It's not what ISB gives you, it's what you want from ISB. So it's just a notion that ISB will only take you that far if you choose XYZ functions. It will take you to whatever orbit you want to move to. Possibly you will have to put in the hard work. That is something you cannot shy away from. Whether it is strategy or management consulting or any other role, we are, let's say, we are from the education industry. We are at 8:30 putting in that effort to help you. And there's a lot of hard work which is going behind it. So hard work, any industry, any function will always have. So never shy away from that. And these are learning stages of our years. This now is the learning time. So push your boundaries. Success always lies beyond the boundaries of comfort, we say, right? So don't worry about the hard work part of it. And if you're moving into and if you're signing up for an MBA, let me please tell you, it's going to be one hell of a year, one rigorous year. You will possibly be sleeping for only 2-3 hours. And I'm not kidding. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare you that know what you're getting into. Because you'll have your classes from morning 8 to 6, and then you'll have to work on your case comps, you'll have to work on your assignments, and then you will see that, oh, in the LMS, this quiz has come up. By the time you even think of having food or sleep, it's already 2-3. And that time you ask your friends, should we sleep or should we party? And then friends will say, chalo, 1-2 hours we'll party. So 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, essentially, you'll sleep. This is a typical life of an ISB student. So it's not easy, it's rigorous, but this is what you signed up for. So live it to the T, enjoy it, you'll miss it. And then success beyond this comfort zone, right? So that's all the best.
Yeah, thank you. That's exciting. Thank you.
Sure, thank God he said exciting and he didn't say I freaked out. But no, thank you, Ashok, thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Very quickly, I'll look in the chat. Any questions for me, Kaushik, from the chat window?
I have answered all of them.
Okay,
there were a few
great.
related questions. I answered all of them.
Sure. Great.
And there was one question from chat. It was Asha, I believe. Let me just check. She asked, can she go for a 2-year MBA? Yeah, Asha Tulsen. Yeah, so Asha, I answered that. PGP is of 12 months.
Okay, great.
PGP go 18 months and PGP max 15 months. So we do not have any program which is of 2 years. So yeah.
And I think with those, if Asha is still there, and Asha, if you're still listening to me, ask yourself, with 10 years, Kaushik, did you say 10 years of experience?
Yes.
Assuming, I think, yeah, definitely 10, 12, double digits. So with those many years of experience, not sure if 2 years MBA is actually what you want to sign up for. Why go for that one additional year of opportunity cost, right? Study for 1 year, the next year you're on the ground, earning, back to industry, back to the learning. So 2 years not recommended for any senior working professionals. So and this coming from, we've been dealing with the MBA program for over 10, 12 years. And I think definitely not something recommended for senior folks.
And also there was this question there only that, why she's planning to go for a 2-year MBA, because she thinks that her learning will be more. So if you can just talk about that, why our
learning component. Sure, Asha. Again, a very important question. I think I should have covered it when I was answering this to someone, that essentially in a 2-year program, if you compare the number of contact hours, or if you compare the curriculum, right? You're ultimately here to gain knowledge. So compare the curriculum, the core modules or the electives. The 2-year MBA programs offer internships at ISB. You will be offered ELPs or the PAEVs. Your learning remains the same. Your next question could be, how is it that we are able to fit all of this in 1 year? Whatever is getting fitted in 2 years, how is it that we're fitting in 1 year? Because in 2-year program, right? And if you look at, we have a lot of internships. We have summer internships, we have winter internships. But here in ISB 1 year, you only have one ELP, right? You do not have any breaks. So you start your program in April, you graduate next year, March, and there are no holidays in between. There are no term breaks. There are no summer internships, winter internships. Friday, term 1 gets over. Saturday, Sunday, you have exams. Monday, term 2 starts. So it's going to be 1 year of rigorous learning. And that's why we're able to, squeeze everything in this 1 year. So you don't, with respect to learning, you're not missing out on anything. Everything is comparable, from contact hours to course curriculum to application-based learning, which is your internships, etc. Everything has been fitted in this 1 year. Yeah. Additional questions for me, Kaushik, and lovely audience who's joined us? You have any questions for us before we hand over the floor back to CJ? No? Okay. All right. So thank you so much, guys. And over to you, CJ. Thank you so much.
Do you have time? I have a few questions.
Yes, I have time. Yes.
I think you had to go somewhere. I'm not sure.
No, so 9 o'clock, I have another session, but definitely can spend another 5-10 minutes.
Sure. One thing I get asked is very commonly is, as you also mentioned, R3 applications, there is more competition there. You said that 80 to 85% seats are already filled.
Yes, by R2, yes.
10 to 15% are 15 to 20% are remaining.
Anji.
But do you get the same number of applications in round 3 also?
No. Applications also drop. Yes, significantly drop.
Significantly drop.
Yes. So what happens is this competition, let's say, so if for example, we've already have 10 entrepreneurs in the class, and if we get 5 other entrepreneurs in round 3, so then in that case, do all 5 of them stand a chance? Now that space becomes competitive. So yes, with respect to absolute volumes, R3 is less voluminous, but with respect to the diversity representation makes it, be it engineering, be it entrepreneurs or lawyers or forgies for that matter. Again, extreme diversity is always 1s and 2s, but these are the top 4-5 wherein we get those volumes.
In the first 2 rounds, you're saying?
Yes.
So what kind of drop? So you are saying that there are fewer applicants in the round 3.
Yes.
But sort of what is the magnitude?
Drops by half.
Drops by half.
Yes. Drops by half.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm getting into numbers. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to get into numbers.
Then possibly we can take it offline.
Yeah, sure. What you mentioned was there is a salary hike of 173%. So you mean that if I'm starting with a pay package of 10 lakhs per annum, then after ISB, I'll have a 27 lakhs package or something?
Correct. That's right. Yes, that's right. So in our placement reports, we actually have captured the before and after. So folks who have come in with 8 lakhs of salaries, the starting salary, so to say, for 2 to 4 years experience, they have transitioned. So their average salary is 28 lakhs, even in the 2 to 4 years of bracket.
Understood. So it's 173% hike, not just becoming 173% of what it was earlier. So it's becoming 273% essentially of what it was.
So it is almost, it's an average. One example that I've given you, overall cohort average is 173%.
Understood.
Each bucket, the percentages are different.
Understood.
Yeah.
And you showed on the slide that, I think the last class profile was 22 years of experience. So what kind of placement does a person with 22 years of experience get?
Yes, so they are mostly 4Gs. They have served the long-term service, and they are mostly, so there are two key roles that come from them. One is consulting. They move into consulting. They would essentially be consulting, get into defense consulting for the Government of India projects. But KPMG will hire them, or let's say GenPAC will hire them, etc. So that's one space. And the second, the most upcoming area for all of them is the e-commerce. Amazon comes for very senior, like the partner level senior director roles for the last mile, first mile. So they'll be handling the entire function for them. So these are the two typical type of profiles, senior profiles, but for these 4Gs, these are the two most desirable options that they have. Consulting one, and the second is the e-commerce.
Do you get people from corporate in this kind of age experience bracket? 50?
Very less. We have one or two entrepreneurs, and corporates mostly 12, 15. That's a sweet spot for corporates.
Understood. And one thing I really liked, you mentioned it a couple of times, is strength-based evaluation. I think probably that can also probably used to explain. Somebody was asking about whether you considered 10th class marks. He had
yes
scored probably in 10th class. So I think you mentioned about strength-based evaluation. Yes. So I think it probably means that you focus more on the strength of a person, what he brings to the table, rather than on his weaknesses.
Correct. Absolutely. Be it whatever marks you have in 10th, 12th, graduation, any gaps that you have in your profile, a failure of a startup. In fact, failures, I always recommend it, talk about it. They bring in a lot of learnings. You possibly some sort of revelation or some sort of trigger was created and which helped you move on to your next role. So talk about it. But as such, no negative marking in the profile evaluation. Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually spend a lot of time worrying about their weaknesses, and now here the strength-based evaluation. I think that's a
yes. And also, if I may add that, so of course, we Adcom members have been trained, but even the alums who will be interviewing the candidates over the weekend, they have to go through a workshop. It's an online workshop, and they are given the access to the LMS, wherein they are trained how to interview. If you can skip it if you've been a part of this process before, but they actually teach you what is strength-based evaluation, what are those questions you should not be asking, and it should not be a stress-based interview. No GK question, no technical questions, no formula, don't ask them to write codes, etc. These are all stress-based interviews. You have to ultimately understand the profile. You have to understand the strengths of the candidate. So it's a strength-based, and then they move on. So what is the definition of this? Leadership, team collaboration, so etc. Yeah.
Understood. So a lot of people ask questions, and I think at least some of them had some misconceptions. So do you have a page dedicated to some of the common misconceptions?
Let me make one then.
I think I can probably share.
Oh no, but if that happens, then I'll lose my job.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, just kidding, but no, definitely we do have an FAQ page. But believe you me, CJ, what happens is, even though we've captured a lot of it in the FAQ session, but there are these forums without taking names, where so everybody's very active, socially active, right? They're consuming a lot of content digitally, be it X platform, Y platform, and there's just so much conversation and there are so many threads around it. I think it's just natural to get intertwined in those conversations. So hence these sessions.
Right. I completely understand. I think that's the same case in GMAT prep also. That's the industry I'm in. A lot of people have multitude of misconceptions about how to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, even though sort of I've tried to, so before the deadline, I always sort of, I've compiled these things about essay or letter of recommendation or upload the document that, gentle reminder on these things. But believe you me, I still get questions on basic things like, ma'am, do you accept unofficial score if I write the exam on 4th of December? Even though I've covered it multiple times, even in the application form, it's mentioned where you have to upload your score that we accept unofficial scores. The official scores can reach the school within 2 to 3 working weeks. So, but still, I think it's just conversations on social forums. So
just one last question, if I may ask.
Sure, please.
So I'm not sure whether there are, not sure whether this is a question I should be asking in this session. I keep coming across people who are preparing for the GMAT and are going through mental health issues. So
Okay.
I'm not sure. So
Because of the stress, because of the stress?
Because of various kinds of stresses, and of course, GMAT preparation at times adds.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether that's even your response. So is ISB actively doing anything in that domain, or if somebody mentions that he's currently going through any mental health issues or has gone through mental health issues in the past, so how is that viewed?
So again, ISB is generally very empathetic. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to provide any professional help to the candidate, but for sure, if he is sort of making the cut through the entire process, and if he's reaching that space, he will not be eliminated because of this. But certainly we yet do not have a team who can, so we have a team for students. We have a team here who is dedicated for mental health, and we have consultants, we have counselors who keep interacting with students. We have mentors, but at the prospecting stage, no, we don't have that support that I can sort of lend to you, but I can definitely interact with the student if you feel that talking with me, if I, in whatever best capacity, if I can help understand what is troubling, etc. But yes, as such, no professional help, but yes, the candidature will not get penalized because of whatever state of mind he is in or whatever he's undergoing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for, I think, patiently answering all of our questions, including mine.
Happy to help. I think that's why we're here.
Not just patiently, but pleasantly.
Thank you. No, thank you so much, CJ, for hosting us. I think it's been lovely interacting with your students, and thank you so much, folks, for joining us, taking out time from your busy schedule on a weekday, joining us for this session. We're right here, guys. Feel free to reach out to us. We will also send you a thank you email, so we'll leave our coordinates there. You can reach out to us if you have any issues that you're facing with the portal. We are happy to address you. We will also be conducting a formal application workshop with the help of the IT team. We'll extend the invite to you, but before that, we'll recommend please open up the portal, start working, so that you know what you have to ask us during that technical session that we'll create with the IT team. So with that, thank you, CJ, once again. Thank you, Kaushik, so much for organizing this. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great week ahead. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you, CJ. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I have mentioned Richa's and my email, LinkedIn thing, LinkedIn profile, and also you can write it to us on pgp@isb.edu. You must, a lot of you must have received an email from me, so you already have my direct email address.
Fantastic.
You can reach out to me there. Yeah, thank you so much.
Great, Kaushik. Thank you so much for all the behind the scene action. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you, Richa. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, CJ. Good night.